Most successful World Cup they've ever had.
Exactly.
They've never sold tickets at that level. They've never sold that many tickets so quickly. It's amazing because you don't think of soccer. We use the word football, soccer, right? But you don't think of soccer in this country.
So hold on, you're telling me the man who collects other people's medals like he earned them and poses with winning teams on stage just decided to skip the United States opening World Cup game, opting to stay in Washington surrounded by yes men who were likely insisting that if he did attend, he would have been met with cheers, just like at Madison Square Garden.
Donald Trump returned to New York City to attend Game 3 of the NBA Finals, and he was shown on the Jumbotron at Madison Square Garden during the national anthem. The reception to the president's homecoming may not have been what he hoped for.
It was certainly amazing. It was, I think, mostly cheers.
You know, when you mix sports and politics, you do so at your own peril. For instance, here's Stephen A. Smith before last night's tip-off at the Garden.
If the New York Knicks lose Game 3, this is on Donald Trump.
Smithies, are they booing me?
No, they're saying Boo Earns. Boo Earns.
Are you saying boo or boo earns?
Now, before we get to that, I wanted to highlight a recent piece from The Guardian, which was a scathing piece on the World Cup in the United States, framing it as being deeply off. The piece pointed out that Jason Sudeikis, playing into the Ted Lasso mythology, was set to deliver a message of hope and unity before the US opener in Los Angeles today. Football unites the world was the message, but the reality is far from that in Donald Trump's America.
Before I turn it over to the next speaker, that of course everybody is welcome to come and see this incredible event. I know we'll have visitors probably from close to 100 countries. We want them to come, we want them to celebrate, we want them to watch the game, but when the time is up, they'll have to go home. Otherwise, they'll have to talk to Secretary No, who I'll turn it over to now.
The World Cup begins today in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. We should be incredibly welcoming to the athletes, to the fans from all around the world who want to participate in this incredible event. I am embarrassed and I am ashamed that our government, the United States government, has not been. A top Somali referee was denied entry into this country. He came here and was turned away. Iranian athletes are being turned away. This is not the way it's supposed to be. I believe the vast majority of the people here in the United States want to be welcoming. As a U.S. congressman, I want to be welcoming. Unfortunately, Donald Trump does not. And I want to make it clear to the world community that the majority of us in this country do not think like him.
And that brings us to the US men's national team opening game tonight versus Paraguay, a game that Trump reportedly opted to skip to remain in Washington. I mean, could it be that the president didn't want to risk another Madison Square Garden moment, which, you know, seems to happen a lot when it's not a rally or a UFC crowd or a donor event? But this was set to be a football game hosted in a city that has vocalized just how they feel about his immigration policy, to the point that some workers at the event even protested in the lead up to the tournament.
Ahead of the World Cup, more than 30 immigrant rights organizations are marching in solidarity with SoFi Stadium workers who are threatening to strike ahead of the big event. They came together in Inglewood today demanding a ban on ICE agents at the games. The union that represents concession workers, cooks, bartenders, and more are looking for higher pay and more safety regulations. Contract negotiations are set to continue tomorrow, but union workers could still walk off the job before the opening match this coming Friday. We reached out to the employer, but have yet to hear back.
And let's not forget that Trump just went to a public sporting event, right? He showed up at the Knicks game, and despite Fox News' best efforts to spin it as a mixed reaction, he was met with loud boos from the sellout crowd during the national anthem as well.
All right, you know, Jesse, you look at the, what do you call it, the front row? Is that what you call it? I don't know. I don't watch Courtside. Ben Stiller, Larry David, Chalamet, Spike Lee. It's funny, the people on the, what do you call it?
Courtside.
On courtside are precisely the people that would have been stuffed in their lockers by the people on court.
It's all right. Let them watch. It was a great game, and Trump didn't lose it for him. It was obviously the refs. Because the league wants this thing to go 7 for financial reasons, and Brunson was ice cold. It's fine. Knicks in 5. Trump, the reaction was mixed. I would say it was passionate. I did hear some boos, but I mean, it's an NBA game. That's the fan base. It's like if Kamala went to Dallas Cowboy game. How would that sound? At least he goes to games. Democrats don't even go to games. They go to pride parades. You got to take a risk in order to do something like this. And he's done it. I mean, this guy goes to first president to go to a UFC fight, a Super Bowl, an NBA Finals game, college championship game, Ryder Cup, and besides Clinton, the only one to go to the U.S. Open, tennis. So he's in the game. 50% of life, Greg, is showing up. You ever hear that before?
No.
So he shows up, and he's been showing up. World Series, boxing matches, it doesn't matter.
His presence, as it was at Madison Square Garden, triggers heavy security, pedestrian traffic, slowed entry, and essentially it helped wipe out the watch party atmosphere that was prominent around Madison Square Garden. So he undoubtedly killed the vibe there.
It already has been a vibe killer because now the city has to shut down all the MSG watch parties that happen outside of the arena that have been the source of like so much fun for everybody, both if you're there and if you're watching it after the clips are posted. Now all of that's going to get shut down tomorrow because Trump wants to show up. And I can tell you, like, as a politician, you know, I've gone to my fair amount of sports games. There are just some things that, like, I mean, you don't want to go either to jinx it or just in general. Sometimes the accommodations that are required for the security for you to show up are just not worth shutting down the fun for so many other people. And sometimes you decide not to go to things so that other people can enjoy it.
Maybe he just doesn't want to kill the vibe before the tournament starts for the US. So maybe in a way he's doing the US men's team a favor. He knows exactly what happens when he walks into a sports crowd that is not being curated for him. But while the president insisted that he had a war to focus on when he was asked after attending the New York Knicks game if he'd attend another, he's hosting a full UFC spectacle on the White House grounds this weekend also. So it poses a question whether he is focused on the job at hand instead of parading around sports events. I mean, the president keeps choosing spectacle over substance. The ballroom, the UFC arena, the possible permanent fight structure, the photo ops. I mean, he wants the image, but the substance underneath keeps rotting. The World Cup itself should be a triumph of the country as a whole, but it's being defined by the immigration restrictions, fan anxiety, the hotel industry being underwhelmed with those coming into the country, and of course the diplomatic embarrassment after the referee was banned entry. And now Trump's not even showing up for the opener.
The 2026 World Cup is now just days away, but there are still questions over what role ICE will play during the tournament. White House border czar Tom Homan spoke with our Camila Montoya Galvez and had this to say.
Can you clarify what type of role ICE will be engaging in at the World Cup? Are ICE agents just expected to provide security at the stadiums, or is there a possibility that they could conduct immigration enforcement during the tournament?
We're going to conduct our Homeland Security work and make sure that those events are safe and doesn't pose a national security issue.
But the priority in that mission is not to arrest people who are in the country illegally, or is that also part of the campaign?
There's no priority doing immigration enforcement action at those events. But we have a national security responsibility that we're going to carry out. And the process is that if we find a national security issue and it involves an illegal alien, of course we're going to take action on that. But the primary focus is keep those events safe, keep this nation safe, and keep the spectators and the athletes safe.
Are you saying, Mr. Homan, that the public and also visitors from abroad should not be concerned about ICE engaging in immigration arrests during the World Cup?
We're focused on our national security issues, and that's what we're going to be focusing on.
It's clear that the US portion of the tournament has been weighed down by the Trump atmosphere. As we know, several civil rights groups had warned of a climate of fear, and fans from restricted countries have faced uncertainty. And as I mentioned earlier, the Somali referee Omar Artin was barred from entering the US despite being selected by FIFA, only to then be selected by UEFA to referee one of their prominent upcoming matches in August. And if you noticed at the start of the game in Mexico, the US flag was even booed before the opener. So Trump's absence from the opening game becomes part of this story we've been covering. It suggests that even he seems to understand the World Cup is not guaranteed to flatter him. So instead, he will be in Washington, where the UFC event gives him a more controlled spectacle, a more loyal crowd, a more Trump-shaped environment. Seems more like risk management to me.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.